I'm in Houston, Texas. Adele Hedges is Chief Justice of the state's 14th District Court of Appeals, and her husband Dan is a prominent attorney. The couple has built a home that could generate all of its own power and collect nearly all the water they'll need, and are pushing for legislation to give homeowners financial incentives to follow their lead. Houston considers itself the energy capital of the world. By energy, they mean oil. But Dan and Adele Hedges are thinking outside the box. They built themselves a house that uses the earth to heat and cool it, the rain to provide all the water it needs, and the sun to provide all the power it needs. Plus, it is cool. Let's check it out. Recycled steel is just one of the elements in this unique house. We head inside to check out other features they've installed. Wow, look at this.
Here comes the sun, here comes the sun, I say it's alright. Little darling, it's been a long, cold, lonely winter.
Now that the final panel is in place, the Hedges can generate enough power to run their home. And probably their neighbor's home, too. Cool thing about this house is that it's basically a solar power station with a house thrown in for good measure. I think it's about time that I met the architects of this ambitious project, Gail and Joseph Adams. Well, Joe and Gail, you designed the building.
We did.
And it is kind of a fusion of very industrial chic. You know, I mean, it's got a big burly quality to it. You know, galvanized posts and galvanized trusses, and it's like an electrical generating, it is an electrical generating station, and it is LEED platinum. And I just find that very impressive. It's a tall order. Talk about the fusion of this very industrial aesthetic.
A lot of it came from our discussions with the client of wanting no maintenance. And Houston is a tough place in terms of environment, in terms of what the world does to a building. And so we have been using galvanized metal in various places for a long time and liking it more and more. So that's evolved before this building.
So did the desire to harvest rainwater and harvest the sun for energy drive the shape of the building? Is that what
to a large
absolutely
extent?
Yeah.
We had several different designs where we had the building, we had the sloping roof, and at one point we were trying to break down the scale, and then we looked at the corner and we said, what if we just let this building flow around the corner?
We worked with the Hedges for a year, at least a year, evolving designs, perfecting them, finally before we got into even the construction drawings. So the idea of responding to a neighborhood, it's a very specific place. There's no other place like this. To respond to where the sun hits this place, to respond to the cornerness of the site. If we can give a client a space to live in, that the space is oriented, they know where they are under the sun, it sort of centers them. There is a psychological dimension to architecture. Then you've given a gift beyond anything to your client.
You know what I like most about the building? It's just honest. It's got this core honesty to it. I love to look at the steel and say, yeah, that's steel. And I love to look at the wires and say, yeah, that carries the electricity. I mean, the building is what it is. You haven't tried to cover it up with other materials. So the structure of the building is the building, and the skin of the building is the building. I love that.
Well, I like your word, honest.
People look at this and say, oh, it's very contemporary. And I like to say, well, maybe. But it's also very ancient. We've studied the Native American Indians called the Anasazi. They knew how to build these pueblos stuck into the side of the canyon cliffs. They knew to build on the north side of the canyon because they were receiving that southern sun all winter long. So I like to think that this is how, the way we're building is how the Indians would build. It's kind of ancient in a way.
We challenged the way you think about buildings in this part of the country.
We believe that this project has both strong technology and strong dimension of beauty and grace, And people have asked and made comments about how can you accomplish both of these simultaneously. So if you work through the process with the idea of grace and beauty in mind, the solving of the technical problems, the solving of the structural problems, the solving of the mechanical problems becomes part of the whole aesthetic act.
Give me the kind of, what was the thread that bound it all together with you guys?
We've spoken before about the psychological dimension of architecture, but I believe even beyond that there is a spiritual dimension. We've worked very hard at getting one might say, the physical things right about this building. And in the end, the result is something that goes beyond the individual aspects to where the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. Certainly it's beyond taste and beyond style. And when we move to the architecture of happiness, the architecture of joy, our client says that the best part of their day is coming home. And we hold to the old saying that truth is beauty, beauty is truth. There is a symmetry about that we think that this project embodies.
It's just honest.
It's ancient in a way.
Hi there, and welcome to Going Green, Houston's home for ecotainment. Our city has some very spacious, unique, and pretty fabulous eco-friendly homes, demonstrating that you don't have to sacrifice style to go green. Take a look. Greening your home does not mean you have to sacrifice style. In fact, we traveled to the Upper Kirby District right here in Houston to a beautiful green home that has a low carbon footprint. And I'm here today to take a tour.
This is it, Yolanda. The whole house, 1,900 square feet of living space on this floor, has everything you need. Bedroom, dining room, kitchen, living, study. This is what this owner has compressed their lifestyle into this small space, but wonderful space, wonderfully lit with the light. That makes up, we believe, for a lot of square footage to have great square footage.
And all of the natural light actually makes it feel bigger.
Right.
It didn't take long for me to spot my favorite room in the house, the kitchen. For a person like me who likes entertaining, this kitchen is magnificent. It's absolutely beautiful.
I think it's quote-unquote functional, but it also has that deep function of having the quality of natural light, the quality of artificial light, LED lights, and it's the task, what we call task lighting, is that very economical light.
So while I'm working, I can still I can see what's going on with my food and all of that. Next on the tour, Joe showed me the unique design used to light up the space. So this is the closet.
Yes, Yolanda, and to show you how serious we are about this natural light, this is an enclosed room within the building. That north light that I said is so important, we are bringing it into the closet area through these skylights in this house within the house. Why are we doing that? So that when you pick your clothes in the morning, you can see them by natural light, that you're not in a dark cave somewhere. You get out in the street and say, oh, I didn't think that was green.
So this is
our scale model. We helped this owner find the real estate. It has a greater dimension in the east-west dimension, which meant we could portray this plane to the southern sky. Once again, a fact of life that is always true is sun rises in the east, moves across the southern sky, sets in the west.
So that way when that sun is rotating around, these panels are getting all of that energy.
The maximum sun hours per day is in the southern sky.
Joe, you're very passionate. Have you always been this passionate about being green?
You know, the old expression, beauty is truth, truth is beauty. So if you can be true and honest about the things that you're doing here, hopefully they will also be deemed beautiful. Standing immediately on top of recycled plastic. All of this deck is a recycled product from the plastics industry. Below that is a 7,000-gallon cistern. All of the water that falls on this house eventually finds its way into the 7,000-gallon cistern from which they take all their water needs, including drinking water, potable water, the water to wash their clothes. The whole business is taken off of the roof, and we're standing on it.
Yeah, and this home is certainly the whole package, and it extends an invitation to each of you to know that going green can also be beautiful. Since our visit with the Hedges, the home has been designated the Sustainable House of the Year for 2010 by EcoStructure magazine. And it's also been named Residence of the Year 2010 by the Gulf Coast chapter of the American Society of Interior Designers. Congratulations.
Welcome to Greenville 2010 and the 2010 Evergreen Awards Luncheon from EcoStructure. I'm here with Gail and Joe Adams of Adams Architects, who are the winners in our residential category, our greenhouse category, for the Virginia Point home in Houston, Texas. So Gail and Joe, I wanted to ask you a little bit. This home is based in an oil capital of the U.S., but it's super sustainable. So can you tell me a little bit about how this project came to be and what the design brief was, knowing that it's in such a fuel-centric city?
Well, it's not only the oil capital of Texas or the United States, it's the oil capital of the world. And the whole concentration of technology is all about hydrocarbons. And this client of ours, who has lived in Houston most of their lives and make their money through the oil industry, came to us and said, can we do something different? And they said, how far can we go? But they also said, how far can we go technically and responsibly and morally and ethically, but it has to be beautiful too. So given that double charge to be green as we can be, but in an engaging way, not an ostentatious way and sort of not an austere way, but something that would make someone else want to do this.
And I know the home has a very big solar array. I believe it's 140 solar panels integrated with the home. How did you gravitate towards that? Was it just looking at Houston and the amount of sun there, or how did you gravitate towards that as the renewable source?
There's a lot of sun in Houston, and that was kind of a natural choice. What we were looking at was the available technologies. It was interesting that there's nothing in this building that we couldn't bid in Houston. There was nothing that we had extraordinary that we had to bring in from outside. But our owner came to us and said, we have been reading about all these technologies for years now. Why isn't anybody doing it? Can we do this? Can we do it? And one of the things that caught their eye, first off right from the beginning, was solar energy.
Okay, that sounds like a dream client.
Yeah.
And I know you also mentioned that they've been doing a lot of tours of the home to kind of foster this innovation and kind of make people more aware of what's going on.
In terms of making it seem possible, I think that the project has been enormously successful in that way. Because even with the codes as they're now written, it's hard to motivate politicians to commit their political energy to doing something that doesn't seem realistic. And our clients are involved in politics, and they were aware that if they built this house, nobody could say, well, this is a house that nobody's going to build for 20 years. They said, let's build it now. Let's build it with as much as we can do.
Okay, well, great. Well, congratulations again on your award.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Appreciate it.